And now, after years of planning, sweating, and going broke, here is the Boots and Whiskey Podcast with Jim Belisle.
I'll alert the media.
Why they would give this man a podcast is anyone's guess.
Then there is what could only be a bizarre coincidence or something else.
Welcome to the Boots and Whiskey Podcast with Jim Belisle.
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
Country music and fine moonshine. Finally, a podcast that lets it all hang out.
Let's level with America.
Got your boots? Ready for some whiskey?
These boots are made for walking.
One of these days, these boots are gonna walk all over you.
And now, the Boots and Whiskey Podcast with Jim Belisle.
Hey Nation, Jim here, Boots and Whiskey Podcast. We have part one of what's two parts with Kenny Feidler this week. There's a little backstory. There's two parts because part one and part two have have some similar topics in them. They're both very different conversations. We're gonna put out the first conversation today, and on Thursday we're gonna put out the second conversation. And why we're doing it this way is that, full disclosure, that's how we do it here. We recorded an hour with Kenny, and I didn't think it recorded. It took forever to upload, and then all of a sudden it was there. And in that meantime, we had recorded a whole other episode with Kenny. So Kenny's got a live album coming out this Friday. So I said, you know what? Fuck it. Why don't we just put out both? We'll promote the live record, and there we go. So sit back, relax, enjoy our first conversation. Like I said, you're going to hear similar things in each episode, but each episode is also very different. We are going to touch upon some of the same things because that's just how it works, right? This is prime example of what this show is. So if it's your first time here, welcome. If it is your millionth time here, welcome back. If it is your first time, it's all about, you're going to see it. It's all about the conversation. You're going to learn about Kenny as a person, rather than the music. The music's going to be part of the equation, obviously, but it's your opportunity to get to know him. And that's why we do this, and that's why we love to do this. Let's see, what else? I think that's it. Happy St. Patrick's Day week. I know it's the day after St. Patrick's Day. I hope everybody was safe and all that. That's it. So kick back, relax, enjoy our conversation here with Kenny. Part one, part two, Thursday. What did we do over the weekend? Did we see any shows? Yes, we did. We saw Charles Wilson Godwin on Friday with Nolan Taylor. Absolutely fantastic at the Strand Providence. And then last night, Haley Mae Campbell made her return to Worcester on her headlining tour. Also a great night. And when I say last night, it's Monday when I'm recording this for Tuesday. So Sunday night, that's when we did that. We also did an episode with her live from Off the Rails. That'll come out in a few weeks. So again, thanks for being here. I think that's it. Sit back, relax, enjoy. Without further ado, Kenny Feidler. Are you at least eating?
No.
All
Just getting that free Wi-Fi.
Yeah, man. Well, thanks for taking the time and coming on.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Sorry. It took a while to get back around to you.
Dude, you're busy, man.
No, not that busy.
Don't be modest. It's fine. So, like I said, thanks for being here. This is about you, man. We're just going to kind of shoot the shit.
Oh, right. Sounds good. I'm good with that. Yeah.
So, you're in Arizona.
Yep.
Like, from Arizona?
No. So my in-laws, they normally come down here in winter in Wickenburg. And my last year, this week, my father-in-law passed away down here in a horse wreck, and so we just come down to hang out with grandma and just spend the week, and brought the kids down, and it's just we normally come down. We play down here a couple times a year, and we've always made a habit to come out here for a week or so every year. So so we're just kind of hanging out.
Well, I'm sorry for your loss.
Oh no. Thanks.
So where is home?
Oh, we live up just east of Rapid City, South Dakota.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Nice.
it's I don't know, my wife's from up there, and I'm from Maryland originally, but went to school in Oklahoma, and we met down there, and we've been in South Dakota for 10 years, on and off, maybe more. so
Nice.
so that's home.
Yeah. So how does a Maryland boy get the sound that you have?
Oh, shoot, I don't know. It's been kind of a developing thing over the years. My when I started out, it was I was just writing rodeo songs and just doing stuff. Pretty much learn how to play the guitar and just barely enough to play along and write songs to. And rodeo was like a big part of my life for a long time, and I feel like maybe being kind of an outsider, growing up in the city and getting into that, it I don't know, I just really soaked it up, and that's what I wrote about there for quite a while, and yeah, that's kind of how I got started doing music. It was just kind of a hobby,
Yeah.
and like Chris Ledoux's music's the reason like I ever started riding bareback horses, and it was kind of life changing for me. And up until that point, uh, I think music was kind of pretty ambient to me up until that point, and then it really made such an impact. And then when I was living in Oklahoma, I had a little boot repair shop, and um, always like Pandora was kind of like happening at that time, and so I would start listening to like more of the alt country stuff, and got into like Drive By Truckers and Lucero and Uncle Tupelo and stuff like that, and then yeah, then I've just kind of morphed my music over the years, just to for the live show. I just really enjoy the feeling of playing rock and roll,
Yeah.
and so now that's kind of what I make. I feel like it's not like mindless, like lyrically. I feel like that's like my thing I'm most proud of is lyrics and being a songwriter. But it's sure fun to play heavy stuff, and that rock and roll thing, for the live
Yeah.
show.
Yeah. I mean, from what I gather, you and I have to be close to the same age, right?
Yeah, I'm
So
30, 37.
yeah, I'm 37. I'll be 38 in a couple weeks.
Heck yeah,
Um,
we're still young.
so yeah, I wish I was young. Um, so you've really had that influence of the bands that were popular when we were in high school, and
Sure.
this, like this Western kind of feel.
Yeah. I've talked about it before. I try not to like rehash and make sure I'm touching on new things, but yeah, like so when I went to school in Oklahoma, it was Northwestern Oklahoma State, like super, like non-affiliated with OSU, but just out there in the Panhandle, and that was '06 to 10, and so that's like heyday Red Dirt.
Yeah.
Ragweed played at my freshman year. They played at my school
Damn.
out at the rodeo, and I didn't even go because I didn't even know.
Right. Well, right. Right.
Yeah, and but then um, after living there, I lived there 6 years, but got influenced by that stuff, and like LimeWire was still like was kind of happening.
Yeah.
So you could find all like I got really into like Boland and Mike McClure and Ragweed and Reckless
Yeah.
Kelly and like that whole thing, and it just seemed that it was just a um, I don't know. I just wasn't introduced to that kind of music. I wasn't looking for like the deep cut kind of stuff
Right.
as a kid, and it was just whatever was on the radio. And then once I got out there, started pouring into that stuff, and and then also, I had like the cowboy music side of things. When I was in Maryland, I was I go to the library and find like Ian Tyson CDs and Tom Russell and like, which you could find in the library back east, weirdly enough, but couldn't really access it any other way.
Right.
And then I would just kind of dig into that stuff, and so yeah, it's been a weird conglomeration of music that I've kind of, since I can't say I grew up on it, because it didn't really matter until I was probably about college age, and that's when it really meant something to me.
Right. And exactly, because it's like living on the East Coast, we're in Mass, and we live the same kind of lifestyle, right? Growing up, where if you didn't know what you were looking for, what's that?
Where are you at?
I'm about 25 minutes north of Providence, Rhode Island.
Oh, okay, right on.
So I'm like right between Worcester and Providence, and I'm about an hour south of Boston.
Gotcha. Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to cut in.
No, it's fine. It's fine. But like, like I was saying, like if you didn't know these bands that were in Texas and other places, like you just didn't know.
Yeah, you were very cut off from any of
Yeah.
that. I mean, everybody's really in a good spot. I mean, people complain about the state of the industry as far as, royalty wise and everything, but man, what a great time to be alive to find that stuff. I mean, I would never have I wouldn't be a touring musician if or no one would know about my music if
Right.
that didn't change into what it is now. So
Right.
I have a lot to be thankful for it, and just to be able to get into those other bands, like you're saying.
Right. Like, I was talking, at the time this comes out, I'm not sure when his interview will come out, but I was talking to Mickey Braun this morning, and, we kind of had that conversation where, and you can attest to this too, without these platforms, like you're not, you may sell out a room in one state because, it's just growing there. And then you could come out here and play a similar size room and have fucking 50 people in it.
Right, right.
It's so wild at how this industry and this, red dirt genre is just so, as much as it is growing, it's still very segmented.
Sure. Yeah, and that's why, I mean, we don't I would love to, I'm from the East Coast. I would love to get east and play some, because I used to rodeo up in like New York and up that way, and it'd be fun to get
Yeah.
up there. But, we are still pretty well anchored from, Indiana, Iowa, west. We haven't really dipped our toes that much into the East Coast, and yeah, it's wild. It's like the structure is definitely, like I have made a good living for me, with like the stuff that streams well, and some of my older songs, and I'm really thankful for it. But we've kind of shifted to, you don't lean on it too long. You use that to, like, yeah, it's great to have those checks, but also think of it more as like, man, I hope my music is getting out into this area or this area, so the touring's more robust, and
Yeah.
it makes sense. I don't know. It's just, touring just feels so much more tangible, and so much. I feel like it's the industry's ever changing, and it's hard to keep a pulse on what's going to last, and there's a lot of uncertainty there. I mean,
Sure.
we've never had a real like fall off. I mean, this past year or two, streaming's been down. I don't know if it's changes or just taste, but it's fine. It used to be kind of concerning to me. I kind of get really like nervous about it, but the best thing we can do is just try to put on killer live shows, and that's not going to go away. Like, an industry can't really take
No.
that away from us. I mean, to a point, and build your fan base that way, instead of just trying to hope hope that something pops off on the
Right.
streaming. Or,
Right.
yeah.
Now, have you guys played up here yet?
No, I haven't. Yeah, I think the farthest east I'm bringing I took the band years ago to some rodeo in Florida, maybe. But that was before we were really getting into it. And we do we've been pushing further east, doing Indianapolis a little more often. I just picked up a Louisville show, Kentucky. So that's kind of like the furthest east we've really like pushed it.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping just the way it's set up. I try to be realistic about I'm still down to drive across the country no matter what,
Right.
the turn is going to be. But the longer we're doing this, and we try to be a little smarter and realistic about it, and so hopefully we'll jump on like a tour with one of our friends that are bigger or something like that, and get to go up there and kind of get a little bit of a safety net that way, where you can kind of
Right.
test the waters and still make it to people. And yeah, years ago I would just drive if I got a show in Indiana or like that Florida deal, I would just take it, whether it was going to pay or, enough or not, just because I felt there was value in just getting to those people. And we still do that too, but try to be a little smarter about it and make sure we're gonna make money for the band and everything when we go. And yeah, we'll keep trying to push further east, and I'm hoping by the fall it's
Yeah.
happening a little more regular.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I talk about it all the time where, a lot of the bands that are, from the Midwest and Oklahoma and Texas, like they're starting to make their way up here,
Sure.
but it's once a year, once every 18 months,
Yeah.
where you're seeing some of the the smaller guys.
Yeah.
Um, but you get the Coes and all that come up and play once a year or whatever. And
Right.
um, but the other ones are just it's wild. It's wild to see where, when you're in my seat, right, where you see a band like, and I talk about it all the time, and I'm sure people are sick of it, but like I'm a big Shane Smith and the Saints guy,
Oh yeah, this guy's
right?
great.
And we've gotten super close with them, and I like they come out here and they play in a room of maybe 800 people,
Yeah. It
and
seems
then
like
you
it's
see it.
undeserving.
What's that?
Yeah. It seems like they deserve so much more,
Right,
because you know what they do other places, and it
right.
just takes a little while for the rest of the country to catch up.
Right, right. And like, they sell out Red Rocks, but they can't sell out a, 1,500 seat theater,
Yeah,
up here. And
yeah,
it just so fucking stupid.
yeah, yeah. Well, and that's one thing. Like, not to talk like we try to go safety net all the time, but there's plenty of times where, like, when we go to California or something like that, like, there's no real guarantee of what we're going to be doing.
Sure.
But I've always I always feel good about, no matter what the turnout is, when we push further one direction or the other. Um, you make the long drive, like, people will come for 3 or 4 hours away, like, because
Yeah.
they're finally they got a chance within reason to see you, and that's never lost on me. So like, we try to, kind of not worry too much about the risk on some of that stuff, because it is worth it. And I'm sure Shane, those guys feel the same way. Like, they don't care that, like, they're just glad that people do care there.
Right.
And yes, it's not always great financially, but you got to kind of take those bumps and stuff, and it means a lot to the people that do make it.
Yeah.
When those people will always tell you, with you know if they get to see you, play into a room of 20 or 30 people, like, it was the greatest thing they've ever been at. Because, like,
Right.
it doesn't always happen again. Some of the bands blow up and stuff, and yeah, so you try not to ever uh, lose sight of that too, because that even if it's not a great money night, it might have been someone's best concert ever.
Right.
So try to make sure you're always putting that effort into it, no matter what, and
Yeah.
still get stoked about it.
Now, how long? At what point did you say to yourself, "All right, I can do this and just do this"?
It was 20 Christmas of 2019 is when I decided to quit my job and just do this. I kind of, for the longest, so started putting music out probably like 2010. I mean, like the Spotify stuff just shows like 2013, but I was like burning CDs at my house in college and putting music out that way. And then I finally realized I could distribute myself on the streaming platforms, and so there was just a long time where I would just kind of put a thing out or something, and didn't put effort into the songs, but not in the production, and I didn't even know what I was doing. And then once those last couple years leading up to 19, started playing with the band and learning how to do that, and because that's a whole nother thing. I wasn't involved with. I didn't have anybody. I didn't grow up playing music, and it
Right.
was kind of a foreign thing to me. And there's a lot that goes into it, making your show good, and not just being good at playing your instrument, but also having a good live show. And yeah, I was I think those 3 years before that, I was cleaning feedlots and driving truck for my brother-in-law's manure spreading business, and playing on the weekends. And then my wife and I had our boys were, or our oldest was an infant, and it was just like kind of wearing me out, trying to do both of them. And then I kind of just hit that point in 19 and was like, you know what? It's always really been important to me to be around with my family, and I felt like I wasn't doing a good enough job just being. My kids were babies, and it was I just wasn't around, and I was like, I don't feel like this is sustainable, and it's not really something I want to do. So I was like, if I just kind of take a few shitty gigs, in between, the streaming's doing pretty good. I feel like I can make up the difference, and it was more just about the time with my family. It was the main motivator. It wasn't like I was like, man, this is my shot at fame.
Right. Right.
It just seemed like a more sustainable and happier way to live, and I didn't mind putting in the work to do it. And I felt like, if I really started getting after it and made this the main squeeze, um, if I was gone Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or whatever, I have that whole week. Most dads wish they could, you
Yeah.
know, have more than Saturday and Sunday. So that was like my main motivator to really get after it. And then once I did, you know, it was kind of a quick process with, playing band. The band was like, friends that were around, and grew from that some, and tried to keep leveling up, and took merch really serious, and just was very hands on through the whole and even now, I just felt like anything that I could do myself, that would push us a little closer to being successful and a little more financially stable.
Yeah.
Just did it, and now it seems very far away, but I mean, we're very much in the trenches still.
Yeah.
But we do have it does run like a really good machine now. Like, our merch is really good. We sell a ton of merch every night, no matter what the crowd size is. And then like our booking agent, Ted, does great for us, and he's got a small agency, so we're very one-on-one and very hands-on with everything. My tour manager Dan and I and Ted talk every week about those two talk every day probably about bookings and trying to figure out stuff, but we all talk every week about the plans going forward. And yeah, it's just really happy with how everything's going. You know.
So outside of your booking agent and your TM, is it just you doing everything else?
Yep. Yeah, we had management for 2 years, and it just kind of got to a point where I am very hands on, and there's just you know, we're kind of operating on smaller margins than a lot of people, and
Right.
I mean, and I feel like, you know, I've just always been really into, if I can do it, like I don't mind like the nuisance of doing certain management things if it means like better pay for the band or
Right. If you don't have to pay somebody else, why would you?
yeah, and if I can just keep that going, and so yeah, so yeah, we kind of just handle all of ourselves now, and yeah, I've really kind of preached that to. I'm not like some old stoic guy that like can impart a ton of wisdom on other bands, but I always tell people that like if you can handle doing it and like you feel like you're covering all everything that's necessary, like yeah, it'd be great. You know, it's really nice when you can have some of those leg up opportunities where you know you get on tour with somebody or um, get opportunities that you can't get yourself, not
Right.
being a long time industry guy. But there's so much grunt work that if you want to and you stay after it, you can pretty much handle it yourself.
Right.
And so yeah, I just feel like it works best for us for right now, and I'm proud of it too. You know,
Yeah.
it's
As you should
my
be,
baby.
because I mean your music and your work ethic is, from what I've seen on this side of it, is just it's unmatched by a lot of people.
Oh no, well thanks, but yeah, you know, I think there's like I got dealt a really lucky hand, so I just try not to squander it.
Sure.
Is how I feel about it, and I feel like I have been very lucky to like, you know, there's a lot of people that wish that they were in the spot where, like even when I'm like feeling like man we're eating shit here, or, you know, like it's a rough year or something like that, I just try to keep in focus. Like, man, there's other guys that are way more talented than I am that wish that they could be in this position. So I try to make sure I never neglect it, and also if I can ever help other people that I believe in, you know, I really try to spread it around. I
Yeah.
don't treat it like it's a competition between bands. There's a lot of um, it's tough for some guys, and I just feel like shoot, got pretty lucky here. Spread it around and make sure that that if we can help somebody else out or something like that, you know, we sure try to, because I don't know, we didn't really have a whole lot of leg ups, you know. Here lately, it's been great. Like Josh Malloy's been taking us out, doing shows with Josh, and
I need
and
Josh to fucking answer my text messages. That's what I need.
he's terrible. Josh,
The
phone.
and he says it too. Like I'll text him and be like, "Dude, I'm sorry, I've been busy." I'm like, "No, I know you're busy,
Don't
but
feel bad. We'll call Josh out right now.
we
I'll
will."
message Josh on Instagram, and it'll take a week to get
Yeah,
a message, but always answers Dan's text messages.
yeah,
But no, yeah, Josh's been really great, and same kind of thing. You know, he's got a huge platform, and it's really great when we get to share. He shares his audience with us, because that's been my main goal here lately. Is just um, we have such loyal fans, and all over. Not a huge, you know, listenership, but the folks that come to our shows, they're so great to us and very loyal, and as much as I love playing to the same people all the time, like do gotta kind of get in front of some new folks, um, and whether it's someone that's just never heard of us or someone that might think I'm the Barrel Racer Land guy, you know, um, which that's fine. It's just but like what we do at a live show, we just have so much more to offer, and um, it's just nice to get that chance in front of some new faces and like really introduce them to what we do, and it feels good to, you know, have people be stoked or even surprised. Like it's never insulting to me when they're like, "This is so much better than the music you have." I was like, "I know, because I learned how to play guitar when I was in college,
Right.
and that might be your first introduction to me, which you're still getting introduced, but there is a little bit of a, good sides and bad sides to that,
Right.
where um, it's more than that, and
It's like when you go on like a first date. I mean, this has been a long time, right? But it's like when you go on a first date with somebody and you only see their pictures online, and you're like, all
oh yeah,
right, and then you see them in person, you're like, wow, that's a lot better.
yeah, yeah. So I'm never insulted when that's the case, and yeah, it always feels good to have, because my band works really hard, and we really try to deliver a good show. So
Yeah.
always stoked when people are really stoked about the live show.
So speaking of your fans and your fan base and stuff, like anybody that watches your socials, you've got quite the following,
Yeah,
right?
we pretty
Like,
good.
other than you working your ass off, what accounts to that?
Uh, I don't. That's one thing. Like with social media and stuff. Like I've had people message me and like say like, man, social media looks like killer, and it's like I'm not really doing any algorithm bullshit here.
Yeah,
And
same.
one thing, you know, with running the band myself, um, that I do like, because I'm not a big spotlight guy. Like really proud of my band, and like so my social media is, I try to make sure it's just what it is.
Yeah.
It's me riding around with five dudes in a van, or it's me hanging with my family, and and try to make sure that's honest. And yeah, so yeah, our social media following's very organic, and nothing like I don't have TikTok. I have TikTok, but it's bullshit. Like I don't have anything. Haven't really. I just haven't played into the process of social media. I use
Yeah.
it to promote shows, and I would probably go dark if I didn't have, you know, if it wasn't my job.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but and I don't like doing like I love doing podcasts is great for me. Like I'm fine talking with folks, like that's I prefer that. Um, doing selfie videos for TikTok is not my thing. Um, so I yeah, we've got a good following, and we do all right. It's not it's all organic, and I feel like there's sustainability in that.
Oh,
Some of
absolutely.
the bands that I'm, you know, a fan of, I feel like a lot of them are the same way, where the streaming numbers may not be through the roof, or um, their social media might be bullshit like mine, but it's real, and they go out and they work, and the touring and the live show speaks for itself.
Yeah. So let me ask you, right? From dad to dad, right? How, I've never been on the road. I've never been away from my kids for very long. Like, how much of a toll does that take?
It's really I know people always ask me and think it um I think the way we do it just makes it not that bad. So I don't stay out. The most I'll stay out is maybe 2 weeks, if it's unavoidable.
Right.
But there really isn't any time where it's not avoidable to me. We
Okay.
just so we just load up, and when we leave to go somewhere, we travel in a van. I don't pull a trailer anymore. We're just loading everything in the van. Merch like stacked to the hilt. Um, and we leave with like 3 hours to spare to get there in time for sound check, whether it means leaving at 9 o'clock the night before, and we just drive straight through, or super early in the morning or something, like, because we have to drive quite a ways anywhere we play. I mean,
Right.
we're in South Dakota, we're central, but it's good 6 to 8 hours to anything that we play in the state 2 or 3 times a year. Everything else is out of state, and but yeah, so we do that. We don't spend extra time on the road. I don't. We leave with just enough time to get there, and then Saturday nights after the show, we just load straight up and just drive straight home. And
Damn.
so I'm home on Sunday. Um, sometimes gone 3 or 4 days, and yeah, just my. It also helps too. My wife stays home with our boys, and my mom has a house in our place, and my boys homeschool too.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, we're so lucky to have her, and that Blaine can stay home, and so that helps too. So like, I try not to. I always think that it's just the way that we tour that makes it easy, but that also plays a huge part
Yeah,
because
dude.
my family's there. You know, when I'm home, my kids are home, and
Right.
and yeah, Sundays, like, sometimes you get there and feel like shit and you're tired, and but we just kind of jump straight into it. And mine are 5 and 7. How you have one or
I have
two or
3. They're
oh,
14, 9, and 5.
oh heck yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and yeah, so I just I've just always tried to keep that in perspective, that you know, even when I'm tired or whatever, like, kids are still stoked to see you, and make sure that, I don't know, I don't. Sometimes they got to go to sleep when I get home, like, or go to sleep early or fall asleep on the couch. But I just, that's why I drive home,
Dude.
and I feel like it makes a good life for my band too. Like, and props to my band, because there aren't a lot of guys that are down to, you know, my guys don't. We don't party. We don't. You know, some of it. Some of the guys don't drink at all. The rest of us, like, also have a few beers when we're playing, but like, I'm never hungover, and and I don't I just feel like it just makes it the guys are down to do the traveling like that, and
Right.
that's awesome, because there's plenty of other, I'm sure, not everyone's down for that kind of travel, you know, where you're doing 8 to 12 hours on the road, and then have maybe one night in a hotel, then load up and drive straight home again, you know,
Yeah.
through the night. But also, like, I like, I drive a lot, you know, and Dan and Casey, like, they'll drive with me, and yeah, I just feel like if they're down to do it, I'm down to do it, and um, make sure I put in my hours behind the wheel, you know, to make sure it's you know, if you want to lead people to do stuff like that, you gotta be willing to do the
Right.
shit, you
Exactly.
know.
And that speaks a lot to you, because you're right. Like, if you're not willing to do it, those guys aren't going to either.
Oh yeah, definitely. And yeah, I'm lucky my band's so good with all that stuff, and they respect that, you know, like, I got a family, and they have spouses, and I don't know, that's just part of how you do right by the, you know, the sacrifices and work at home from our spouses. um I don't know, that's why I don't party, and I don't fuck off on the road and kill a bunch of time, you know, like, I treat it like it's my job, and I mean, it's a super fun way to make a living, and we have a really good time, but I still treat it, you know, like it is.
Right.
So it makes a difference.
It makes a huge difference. Huge difference. So, when you're writing songs and doing all that, do you, like, set out time to do that, or are you always constantly writing?
I'm not. I'm trying to be better about it. They don't come, like, I used to just, like, felt like I spewed songs and wouldn't, you know, put in the time to develop them,
Sure.
and it shows. But now, like, my band's so good, and, like, I feel like I keep getting these little snippets of stuff, and I'll work on them, and yeah, they don't come very often. but I'm way prouder of, I'm proud of pretty much even old stuff like lyrically, but song wise, I'm just really proud of what we're doing now, and it seems like it's not kicking them out as fast. And I try not to just sit around and wait on it to hit me, but also I don't force it either.
Yeah.
And I feel like it just makes for better music to really put that, not be searching for quantity, at least for me. And also I'm not I don't write a lot of the stuff I write is either from personal experience or from people around me. So that kind of makes a difference too, where I'm not just constantly, I have a story song here and there, but for the most part, I'm kind of waiting to get struck by certain things that are meaningful. And I've just always like tried to make sure I wasn't ever making bullshit either,
Right.
try to make things that are real. And I feel like it translates to those songs being meaningful to other people when I take that care with it.
No, absolutely. Anytime you can write a song and it means something, it's going, we're all human, right? Where
Yeah,
your experiences are the same as a lot of other people,
sure.
and I know for me, I think that's why I love this genre so much, because it's like, people like you and others are writing things from experiences that, I've also gone through. And it's
Sure.
like I can relate to that a lot easier than I can relate to, you know,
Yeah. Well, and I think so much of that, especially with independent guys and gals, writing songs is you know, I've talked about this a couple of times where you're making it for yourself or for those around you, and you're not making it to sell. At least to me, um, I don't I don't go into I don't start a song thinking, oh, everyone's gonna love this. Like,
right.
actually, for the most part, everything I make, I'm like, man, no one's gonna love this. And it might be cool to me and five other people, um, but that's kind of my litmus test, I guess, for what I write is just I just write about things that are kind of meaningful to me or things that strike me, and if it if people like it, that's great. Um, but also, I wouldn't feel good about it if I was just writing it to make something that just just to sell it, you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
But, and I think that it just comes from like that's like any kind of craftsmanship. I mean, you got to take pride in what you're doing, not just you want to make a living, but you also you got to be really happy with the product, the end product. I hate
Yeah.
to call a song product, but
Well, it is.
yeah, you got to be happy with what you made, and that matters most, and that hopefully it might not be super huge, but that's gonna shine through, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
If
so
you're doing this to, like you said, if you're doing this in hopes to, write a number one song, it
yeah,
it's not even
that's an empty
it's not
search
gonna
too.
do what you
Yeah,
want it to do.
yeah. I mean, everybody hopes that the next one pops off, and there's been stuff that I've thought done that I thought would be more would actually like do better, and like the newer stuff that it's not why I did it, but we'd be done with something, and I'd think, man, this is a really like thought out thing, and it doesn't have legs, and
Yeah.
I still sleep okay at night,
Right.
because I'm happy with it, I'm proud of it, so
Right.
it's good enough for me.
Right. And that's honestly, that's all that matters.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
know. Um. So I got to ask you, because I talked to him quite a bit. Um. Matt Westerman speaks very highly of you guys
Oh yeah,
because you know Matt, right?
yeah, that's great.
He is. He
He's
is.
one
Now,
of the best fans out there.
yeah, we actually just had him on the podcast. Well, we recorded an episode of him, and when you see guys like that, right, regardless of anything else, right, do fans like that mean more to you, or mean more, like you in like a general sense, right, where it's like, okay, like I'm doing something right here.
Yeah, I've like yeah, it means a lot. I wouldn't say sorry, Matt. Not that you don't mean more than someone else, but like no, I always I've because we have multiple people that are like that that are very diehards. That's what makes the world go around for bands like us. Like
Yeah.
um, I mean, I guess I did treat Matt different. Like we had Matt stay in our hotel room like 2 weeks ago for the weekend. We played a doubleheader in Omaha and had. I was like, don't sleep in your car. Can you just sleep in one of the rooms with the band? Because he's our friend, and that's what I do. So many people that like I don't like calling people fans. Like it's a weird thing.
Yeah.
Like people that come to our shows and listen to music. Like I mean, many of them become our friends, and we treat them. They are our friends, and we remember everybody. It's I don't know. I'm sure at certain stages it gets out of hand where you can't keep up with everything, but I sure always try and yeah, those people always they're spreading your music around, and it's really great of them too. And man, like Matt's like killer hype man at shows too. Like
Yeah.
it could be a dead crowd, and he'll be banging his head, you know, front row. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So cheers, Matt.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm. It's really great when people do that, and those are the people that spread your music around to people that may not find you otherwise.
Right. I told him, I was like, I literally live vicariously through him every weekend.
He makes a job out of it. I told him last week, and I was like, or 2 weeks ago, I was like, you should, because I've used some of like Matt's taking cell phone pictures and stuff, and I've used some of them for promo. I'm like, you should just go get a job, like learn how to do concert photography or something. And he's like, well, it would kind of ruin. He's like, this is my passion. I don't want it to be work. And
Yeah.
which I respect that. I understand.
Yeah.
But yeah, he puts some miles down to go see some bands, and man, there's plenty of times like you might only have 10 people in the room or something, and that guy's there. You don't feel like you're playing to 10 people.
Right. It's funny because it's like, I see how many shows he does, and I know how many shows I do.
Yeah.
And, he's absolutely right. And I think anybody that goes to shows on a regular basis would maybe say the same thing, where like, I know for me, for doing it on this side of things, like
Mm.
concerts for me, as much as I love them, have also lost that appeal.
Yeah, yeah, no, I get that. Oh, and
It's
just so
not
you
an
know,
event anymore. It is
my
work.
phone is running low on battery, and my kids took the charger just in case.
All right, that's fine.
Sorry,
No,
just in case. Don't think I'm cutting out on you.
it's all right.
Um,
We could wrap this up because I know you're gonna get back
no,
to
just in case if we do, let's just pause it and maybe we'll get back after it another day if you need
yeah,
to.
whatever.
Um,
I mean we've
just
had
great talk.
we've had a great conversation. So like don't feel obligated. It's totally fine. Like I appreciate you taking the time away from
Oh,
your family and all that stuff. So don't even.
but back to like losing the like even like so Dan, our tour manager, like I met Dan. He would come to shows, and he quit his job and was just going to shows and living in his van, going and seeing concerts, and that was what he did. That was his thing, and now Dan's like one of my best friends, and he's major asset to the band, and he runs, makes all the hats, and like Dan doesn't go to concerts anymore. Because like you see the other side of the curtain,
Yeah.
and it's not because you don't appreciate the music. He still listens to a ton of music. It's just you see behind it, and you see the wizard, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it does. There's a little bit of magic lost, I guess, for some folks if you do a ton of them. But yeah, not for. I mean, for us on stage, I don't know. We could play the. People ask about playing the same songs all the time. Like we do pretty long sets at our shows, and it never gets old to me. I don't know. It's always fun.
Yeah.
I'm always really thankful to do it. It's I don't ever feel like it's just mailed in. It always
Yeah.
feels like it's new.
When it starts to get unexciting or old, that's when there's a whole nother set of
Yeah,
questions to ask yourself.
yeah, and yeah, and I know we're very much in the chase, I guess, too. But also, I really love making music and playing music with my friends, and uh, yeah, the live thing is like something that I never expected to really crave like I do now, and like our shows are pretty. I feel like I'm never like smiling or like I don't talk a lot on stage because I just kind of stumble over my words, and I'm not a big fan of other people that just talk instead of it's fine. It's just I like delivering like playing music, and so like I feel like our shows are sometimes like there's a certain intensity to it, and we're not just like we're not trying to like knock out songs, but I want the show to flow and to not be a lot of dead time, and make the whole thing be kind of a experience, I guess,
Right.
where you want it to be cohesive and to make sense, and take the time to make sure the set like makes sense of what I'm doing, whether it's time to tune or song to song, or intensity wise. Put a lot of thought into that stuff, so it is the whole thing is worth being there for.
Yeah. Yeah. I I I I give you a lot of credit for the way you do things and the way you go about it. And like now hearing the way you do it and how what it means to you, a lot of the things I've seen and heard make a lot more sense.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's just one of those things. It's like so many people wish they could do this kind of thing. So you try to put the care into it, you know.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
yeah, we're lucky.
You are. You are. And like I said, I can't thank you enough for taking the time
Oh,
to
of
to
course. No,
chat and
thanks for
shoot the
having me on.
shit, man. Like it's been really cool to get to know you and you
Yeah,
know
I hope you can get to a show soon.
yeah, I do too. I need you to come out here. Like fucking the Midwest is so far away.
There's gonna be a good one. My friend Jake Zilke has the Dusty Vaquero music page on Instagram, and he also has a book out called Lost Cowboy. But anyway, Jake's done this project of over the past years, and he does a lot of video for us, like show video, and puts it on Dusty Vaquero. And he's throwing a festival in Gillette the end of May called Dusty Vaquero Days. It'd be really cool if you had the
Yeah.
time. Like, there's so many great people that haven't got the spotlight, and that's like kind of it's really cool to like be in that. I'm really so thankful to like live where I live. Like people, there was a time where I thought I had to go to Texas,
Yeah.
and now like Kellen Smith. I don't know if you got to listen to Kellen at all. Like Kellen's one of my really good friends, and he's my favorite songwriter. He lives 2 hours away from me in Gillette, Wyoming, and and like all these a lot of a lot of musicians I met through Jake and through like the Dusty Vaquero stuff. It's like very underground, and you never would, like Brandon Scott Green out of down in West Texas. Like he's doing shows with us here soon. Like that's a guy that's on the ranch also. Like you never would have came across.
Oh, well, there you have it. Our conversation with Kenny. Kenny, again, thank you for all the commotion and all the craziness. But we absolutely loved having you twice. So, again, Thursday, part two, or actually, it's really a whole new episode. It's not even part two, it is two different conversations. So, we hope you enjoyed this one. Thursday's even better. Maybe not. Just as good. Yeah. I actually don't remember the conversation. I have to go back and listen to it again. But thank you for being here. Um, what do we got? That's it. That's it. Happy St. Patrick's Day again. We'll see you Thursday. And until then, keep those boots on the ground and the whiskey in the glass. Cheers, y'all.